Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's our good friend, old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Also the head honcho at Gator Bait Media. We'll get his thoughts. He's been covering college football a long, long time. And boy, has it been crazy the last 24 hours. If you missed it last night, the Redskins or the Washington football team defeat the Seahawks 17-15. Interesting game because Redskins get a blocked field goal and their kicker he gets injured trying to chase the dude down on it wasn't a field goal, it was an extra point. Seahawks got 2 points on it, but he got hurt, so they changed their whole plan. They weren't able to kick at all. So good win for the Washington football team. But let's talk about what's going on in our world with good old Buddy Martin on the Titan MRO hotline. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. How you doing? I saw Freddie Swain catch that bomb, and then they scored. Of course, as you said, they had to go for two and did not make it. So good comeback, but a little too late. Yeah, I guess we're going to talk about the subject du jour and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, because we got to get to know a brand new football coach, Shane, and we're piecing it together a little bit at a time. I just get dribs and drabs. I know you are the same thing. We don't know him. We got to learn him. It looks good. A lot of excitement in the Gator Nation today about this hire.
No question. A lot of people don't know much about Billy Napier. He's coached at some really good programs. He's a very organized human being from what we hear. I did a show yesterday with Steve Russell, buddy. We always do the Monday after games. Mm-hmm. People call in. We had a parent of a football player from Louisiana Lafayette call the show as they were driving from Louisiana to Texas. Just wanted to let us know what kind of coach we're getting. Just talked about, when Billy came into their house and during the recruiting visit. And so it was kind of odd that somebody called listening to our show after they just lost their coach. But no, I think it's a good hire. Let's get back to Billy Napier. I want to get your thoughts, buddy, because you've been doing this business for a long, long time. Have you ever seen anything like what's happened in the last couple of days with premier football programs with Southern California, now LSU? I mean, I think the Brian Kelly deal came out of nowhere, as well as Lincoln Riley. I don't blame Lincoln Riley one bit. I think it is a tremendous, smart move on his part. He's a hell of a football coach. He gets the top players, especially the top quarterbacks in America, to come play for him. And he's going to take over a program that has tremendous tradition and will start dominating and being in the playoffs year in and year out, in my opinion.
Well, in answer to your question, I have not seen 3 days like this ever in my lifetime. We knew it was coming, but we didn't know to what extent. The coaching carousel was going at 100 miles an hour. Dropping off people, as I said on the show last night with you, is it dropped off Lincoln Riley in L.A. and now Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge, which is a real surprise to me. I'm missing something there, I'm sure. It's just moving so fast, I can't keep up. But it's too bad because Billy Napier was really the headline hire. And whether or not, this is going to be interesting. We already had a sense of a strong rivalry with LSU. But now that Florida has hired Billy Napier, who was from North Georgia, but obviously coached down there a while, coached for Dabo and coached for Saban and whatever. But his ties to Louisiana were very strong, and he didn't get a whiff. Apparently, Scott Weber didn't think he was worth talking to. And so meanwhile, Scott Weber winds up hiring Brian Kelly. Now, I'm sure Brian Kelly's a very good football coach and all that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to trash him because he coached in Notre Dame. But except for resume and number of games in Power 5 experience, would you rather have Napier or Brian Kelly? I'd rather have Napier based on what little I know so far.
Well, I'll say this: I've never been a big fan of Brian Kelly, and I don't know why I haven't. Maybe because he's coached at Notre Dame. He's won everywhere he's been, and I saw something on Twitter this morning. His last 6 or 7 years, his record, it's damn good, but he's only lost like 1 or 2 games every year. So I think it's an interesting hire. I think Billy Napier is a great hire for the Gators just because of his relentless recruiting. And look, folks, that's where it is right now. If we don't get any players, we're going to be back in this same boat in the next year or two. It's that simple. So I think it's a very good hire. I was trying to find this thing on here, and I can't find it, of course.
While you're looking, I'll tell you that I don't know this person who posted it. I hate to post things I don't know or talk about things posted to people, but he had a pretty complete report of what Napier's done and how he's dispatched already Florida coaches out to talk to players to try to rescue some of this recruiting class. And as you know, I've said on the show a number of times, one reason is that Florida didn't get that many 4 and 5s. A lot of them come from IMG, and Florida can't get a whiff down at IMG.
I don't mean to interrupt you. The IMG deal is kind of a tricky situation. But
yeah, I know.
Majority of the kids that are at IMG aren't from the state of Florida.
Right. Get it. I understand. But it still skews the stats when you line up all the Power 5 teams and the recruit here, and Florida doesn't get its fair share down there. So regardless.
And don't even get me started on IMG. I can't stand the place.
Wait, you work for IMG, pal. Remember that you get a paycheck from when you do your games on the road.
No, that's from Learfield IMG. That ain't the damn IMG Academy. I don't understand why kids want to go play there. There's no benefits from it. You can't win anything, and you're leaving your boys from your hometowns behind, and you could be competing with them and bonding and making memories. Instead, you go to a small little college with kids from all over the country. I just don't believe in it. That's just my personal opinion.
It's a prep school. It's a prep school. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, most prep schools are for when you for whatever reason you want an extra year when you get out of high school. But anyway, I can't find it. But Brian Kelly's record is outstanding. What's interesting, and I don't know who, I think it was John on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. He wanted to ask us, buddy, what happens at Notre Dame and Cincinnati if both of their head coaches are gone and they make the 14 playoff?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, they left their teams in the middle of at least Brian Kelly left his team in the middle of playoffs. He's still got a shot. I mean, I doubt if he'll make it, but he's got a shot. And as we've seen, things can happen and have happened. These conference championship games could turn things upside down. I'm getting a lot of texts from people about, will Urban Meyer go to Notre Dame? And I haven't talked to Urban in a month or more, so I can't give you the accurate information. I don't see it happening. He's committed to that situation, even though it's tough right now. He's got to see this one through and fight through and see if he can get it to the other side. But and for people who keep saying this, I know it's not right because I wrote the book when he said it. Notre Dame was not his dream school. It was listed as one of 4 dream schools back when he was assistant coach. And by the way, he did take the Notre Dame job once. He took it and changed his mind and came to Florida. So I don't know that he necessarily wants to go back to that. He doesn't really like the idea of recruiting again. As you just said, it's everything right now. It's a full-time job. Urban was one of the best recruiters in history of college football. I mean, nobody did it more than him. And that's what it takes. And I'm not sure that, that a lot of people don't want to make that commitment. If you don't want to make that commitment, which I don't think Dan Mullen really did, it's going to cost you. You can't function. And I know I've sort of poo-pooed it, and you have too, in regards to it's important to get players up, more important to train them. And by the way, just a note here, I love this quote from Napier in the press conference yesterday when he said, it's one thing to collect talent, it's another thing to build a team. I think that's what we're focused on here, is building a team. And Mullen was pretty good at that, I will say. He was not a good recruiter. He was a good team builder. I know everything that we see about Mullen now will be nullified because he'll get blamed for global warming. Everything that happens now will be Mullen's fault. It's just the way it is. Last guy who was here messed it up. But the bottom line is that Napier apparently is a really great recruiter. If you talk to people who, like, even when Scott Strickland went in his home and actually met him, he was so blown away by him. He wanted to stop the interview process and say, here's our guy. So it works both ways. So what I'm reading and hearing sounds really great, but like I said, let's not build a statue to Billy Napier just yet. He has some proving to do.
Yeah, I real quick back to the 14 playoff, because it's very interesting now with Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame. I think his team sits 6th in the playoff rankings. Oklahoma State is at 5. Okay, we know if Alabama loses, they're out. So that means either Oklahoma State or Notre Dame are going in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting. And Oklahoma State could lose to Baylor. Notre Dame doesn't have to play anybody. So that may hurt them. And then if Cincinnati were to lose to Houston, it's very intriguing, buddy, because I think a lot of people think Luke Fickell's the next coach that's going to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Some people, as you mentioned, you've gotten a bunch of texts, think it might be Urban. Who knows? But it is crazy. I like the Billy Napier hire, but I think out of all of this, I think what Lincoln Riley did was the smartest thing of anybody.
Yeah, good move. And by the way, they showed the clip yesterday when he says, "I will not be the new head coach at LSU."
Well, he wasn't lying.
That's a good little fake reverse there. No, yeah, he's right. And I tell you, I don't know who saw that one coming. I don't know.
Did you see everything that USC is doing for him?
Yeah, buying.
Okay, I'm going to read it for our listeners.
Okay, go ahead.
He's getting $110 million. I don't know how many years. USC is buying both of his houses in Norman for $500,000 over the asking price.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also buying him a $6 million house in LA. And he has unlimited use of the private jet 24/7 for him and his family.
Mm-hmm. It's nice and it's good. But remember this, California is a lot more expensive. I mean,
well,
really,
no, I get it.
Taxes and so someone said when he was making, what was he making already? 8 million, 9, whatever. So, but I mean, heck, how much money can you spend? It's like Coach Spurrier said when they asked him why he didn't take the Bucs job the first time when they came to him, offered it to him. He said, "How am I going to spend all that money? I mean, Jerry's sisters don't need it. I mean, he had more money than he could ever spend, and that's really kind of the essence.
It still does.
It
still
does.
Ain't spending any money.
And yeah, that's right. No, every time he opens his wallet, the moths fly out. I know. I mean, let's go back to money for a second, because it's really important. You got to who's paying for all this? I read some stats that money. It's not even money; it's monopoly money. And you talk about the number I read just recently was there's so much dead money out there that's been paid to people already, and now when you add all this up, is 26 million? When you add in Mullins, 12 million to what they paid the old McElwain and Muschamp. It's ridiculous amount of money is being thrown around, and then here's the question: who's paying for it? Who paid for Mullen to leave? I got a little boosters. Yes, it was. That's the word I was told by a really great source. Said it was a booster who underwrote the 12 and said, "Okay, I'll underwrite it, and then you go get the rest of it, and whoever can throw in." So when you get billions, I guess 12 million is not so much, but. So there, and Alan Taylor had a great tweet today. Alan Taylor from The Athletic. He said today about 220 million was guaranteed to coaches who are combined 0-6 in college football playoff games with a 19-point average losing margin.
Yeah,
220 guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah.
I'll tell you this though. I would have no problem if we go 0-3 the next 3 years and we're in the 14 playoff. At least we're there.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Nice to see. Let's talk for a second about the fans, because Florida fans get ripped by a lot of people, and I've given a few shots myself, but they know what they want, and they were right. And really, I'll be honest with you, I came to it a little bit late. Probably Scott Strickland, a little semi-apology for suggesting he didn't have a plan. When in reality he did, he just kept it to himself. And I got to say kudos to Strickland for the job he did in pulling this one off. And he knew who was going to look. Someone says, was it a home run now? I say yes. Everybody else says yes. But it's a home run now. Is it going to be a home run in 2 seasons? That's what we don't know. We don't know that from any coach or anybody they hired. I think given what they had, I mean, he got a bargain for Billy Napier, and Billy Napier was the hot young thing. He was the bright, shiny object that people wanted. And I think LSU might rue the day because they aren't going to let them forget it down in Louisiana, that they did not at least consider Billy Napier. That's going to come back to bite him in the butt, especially if he hangs a few on losses on LSU when he's the head coach of Florida.
Yep. Real quick, Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law. Daniel asked, Shane, do you think AR-15 will be QB1 going forward? I feel they like the kid's a special talent. It would be a tragedy to let him get away. I don't know what Billy Napier's plans are. Anthony is a very athletic quarterback. I would probably not go to the special talent because the game is about throwing the football. Now, if fans want to get excited from the Tebow days of the quarterback at the quarterback position making runs and things of that nature, yes, he's your guy. But if you want a quarterback that's going to get back there and dissect the defense, make good choices, throw the ball accurately, consistently, the answer is no. I have a feeling Billy Napier is going to bring in at least 2 quarterbacks, I know he's recruiting hard a 5-star kid out of Louisiana. It's a drop back passer that he's got a good relationship with. So I think Anthony is a good fit for certain systems, but if Coach Spurrier was coaching here, he would not fit his system. Maybe that's the easiest way to say it. Turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot this November. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking with Buddy Martin here on the Titan MR hotline. Got a lot to talk about. I got a text here real quick on the Titan MR text line, buddy. Let's see what it says here. Comes from Ryan. He says, wow, just wow. Lincoln Riley was a shocker, and now Brian Kelly to LSU. USC, Florida, LSU get their guys, and now Oklahoma and Notre Dame are open. Who will be the next big domino to fall? That's some major players in the college landscape all in the same year. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the text. Yeah, no question about it. I don't know what Notre Dame's going to do now. Who do you think gets that job, buddy?
Luke Fickell. It's a good fit.
You're right, too. Okay, I want to ask you this, buddy, because this is a good homework project for you, since you like to dive deep and do research.
Yeah.
Okay, Brent asked here, he says, Shane, is it true that UF has increased its recruiting budget and personnel? I had saw reports on this, and I'm curious. I did hear Billy Napier has like hundreds of analysts at Lafayette, which is unheard of, because he came from Alabama.
Saban's model, yeah.
Yeah. So there were reports out there that was one of his requests coming here. I don't know what these analysts get paid. We don't know what their roles are. I do know there's some analysts that don't do a damn thing. They're just buddies with the coach and they're getting paid. I do think they did increase the recruiting budget. I don't know how that works because, buddy, correct me if I'm wrong, and you may not know the answer to this, and it may have been on the show yesterday or another show I did. Everybody talks about Georgia spends this amount of money on recruiting. Well, I don't think Georgia has their own school plane. I think Florida does. So maybe that screws up the numbers.
Yeah.
But I don't know from like increasing your budget, what does that do to help you recruit? Do you know the answer to that?
I do not know the answer to that. And I don't have any sources who know. And we'll just have to rely upon, somebody giving a tip of us off and go doing some homework on it to find out. Because, look, Florida's not exactly forthcoming with information, and we're, as reporters, we're held at bay. We don't get to hear lessons at the press conference. Every now and then somebody will get Scott Strickland to return a phone call But they don't do a good job of reaching out. They really don't. And I don't know the answer to that. Maybe we can go to a quarterback club one night and hear someone talk about it, because that's about the only place I know.
Well, because here's the thing, I don't want think people to get confused that, okay, so Georgia spends this amount of money. That means they're sending all these people out on the road. Right. You can't. Right. You can only send your coaching staff.
Right.
So these are the only guys that can go recruit. Now, when they go recruits, or when the recruits come on campus, are they spending more money on fillets, on lobster? I just don't understand the dollar amount difference.
I guess you got more visits. Maybe you hit more a day. I mean, they're hitting 3 and 4 schools a day now. How would you hit more than that? I mean, people talk about it. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. And it's one of the many answers I would like to know myself. There's a lot to learn, including I got to learn about Napier. I want to know more about him. There's lots of information. I want to know about what kind of a quarterback was he at Furman? I guess competitive. France did a good job of researching this last night on the show. Also, why did he leave Clemson? He was hired by Scott and then fired by Dabo. I'm not sure whether he was up for the job with somebody else. I don't know why he only spent 1 year at I think at Arizona State. Colorado State, worked for Jim McElwain, by the way, who we like to hate around here. So it's like building. Shane's like taking all those jigsaw puzzles and dumping it on the table, and you start working on the corners. My wife does them all the time. Do 2 or 3 pieces, start to fill in the areas, and it looks really promising. I don't know the system. It sounds like, and I'm going to surmise this, which is dangerous, but I'm going to surmise this. He's the guy, as I wrote, is a measured twice, cut once guy. He's the kind of guy that thoroughly, if you listen to him interview, I was listening to a long interview he did, and he would stop and take maybe 5 seconds before he answered a question. Very deliberate, very thoughtful, very careful. As much as he is involved in recruiting, that he absolutely made that as a bargaining chip with Florida, and the Strickland knows he has to pony up, because in the end, one of the things that got Dan in the end was that answer about recruiting. Things were bad enough, but when he said, well, it's not recruiting season, we'll worry about that when it gets there. No, the buzzer sound, that's not the right answer. And I think this is one of the 2 or 3 things that Strickland said he wanted, a great recruiter. Now, here's the thing. Be honest about it. He's apparently a really good recruiter, but does that mean he got a bunch of 5 stars? Well, not at Louisiana, he didn't. Not at UL. But I think he is organized. From what I read, that he has good people on the road. His character integrity speak a lot. Just like Coach Spurrier, when he walked into a living room, he's a guy that has done it the right way. I listened to a thing last night of about 5 coaches, high school coaches down in Louisiana, big high schools, and they all say the same thing. He does what he says he's going to do. He's there for you. He's honest. He's caring. He has a great reputation for his character in high school coaches. That to me says a lot. Because I talked to a friend of yours last night that coaches in this area, a former Gator, who said he is yet to receive a letter from Dan Mullen, and he came here a year ago, and he's got players that might play there. I mean, they have done a terrible job, apparently, with the high schools, based on what I'm hearing. I don't know that. So, yeah, there's a lot we don't know there. Put that jigsaw puzzle together, fill in those corners, let's see who Billy Napier is, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of people talking about the recruiting budgets, and people were saying it probably means, more analysts, more personnel. I'll be honest with you. I'm on the damn plane on these road trips, and we got more analysts, and I don't know how we could add more analysts. It's crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But you're right, buddy. I do know the last, and we're not here to bash the last staff or any of that stuff, but I have heard from several former players that are coaching at the high school level, never saw a Gator coach or even got just a note saying, hey, want to wish you luck this season. So that's kind of sad if you ask me.
Yeah, it is. And just a quick note there, and that is that, okay, so COVID last year, you couldn't take visits. You can write a letter, for crying out loud. Congratulations, coach, on your new job. We look forward to talking to you. Your public relations was atrocious with high school coaches and not very good with the media, I might add.
Yeah, that is so true.
Although
I
want to give a props to my man, Rick Hurtado, who's been a really good job. He's been the number 2 guy, and he's filled in there since they made a change. And Rick's done a really good job at Florida. I hope we get more of Rick.
Okay, so buddy, let me ask you this. Well, I just lost my train of thought. Let me see if it'll come back to me. Concussions, I guess. Back to Coach Napier. As you said, you've talked to a bunch of people that love this hire. Do you think the main reason that the Gator fans, and I'm sure there's some that still aren't excited about it, but do you think the main focus of Billy Napier is his ability to recruit? Don't you think that's the number one thing? Do you think that the comments that we've heard from Kirby Smart after certain games about how you can't outcoach recruiting, the comments of what Kirby said in the locker room at halftime of the Florida game, which, folks, if you haven't seen it, listen to it. That happens in every game. It's just that's the way football locker rooms work. Do you think that was in Scott Strickland's mind the whole time?
Well, it was in his crawl, that's for sure. I mean, like some major coach talking about what was the use he was there word. What was the word he used to describe them? They're undisciplined asses, or whatever the words he used. That hurts. And then you have to ask yourself, what's he talking about? And if you don't know, you better find out what he means by that. And that is Florida's the number 1 rival. They stand in the way of Florida getting back to Atlanta every year. They're going to be good for a long time. He's stockpiling talent. I mean, look, I know Gator fans don't want to hear it, but Kirby Smart's done a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. He didn't get a lot of credit, doesn't want a lot of credit, and he's just running a good program right now. And so I think that's part of it. But let me just say one thing. It doesn't do you any good to recruit them if you can't coach them. And if you can't call ball plays and and lead. I think the leadership is important. I think his skills as an offensive coach, I think the way he handles people or handles his program himself, I think that is equally as important in recruiting. Yes, maybe that's 1B. 1A is him and his skill set and his character and his track record as a person. He comes from a football family just like you. He was a son of a high school coach who called plays from a wheelchair. He said he wanted to have his own program just like his dad. His family, his 3 children, are everything to him. Well, one of the guys, I guess it was Sales, who coaches the offensive line now for the Giants, formerly coached with him down in Louisiana, and said, my man has no hobbies. He doesn't play golf. He's got 2 things: football, his 3 children, and his wife, Allie. That's all that matters to him. So, and somebody else told me that knows him, he's a grinder, the exact opposite of what Coach Spurrier was. He'll be there when the lights are off, still working. So those are things we're learning about the guy. Again, the more I learn about him, the more I like him. I don't know the man, not met the man. I've only read and heard, and some excellent stories. Ross Dellinger from SI, who I hope will get on the show, wrote a really great piece on Napier almost 3 years ago that I would recommend highly if you want to know more about who this guy is.
Yeah, Facebook Live here, Brent says Kirby's comments on you can't out-coach recruiting was a stretch. He has out-recruited most everyone year in and year out, yet has lost games to less talented teams until this year. Well, I'm going to agree with that. I mean, you're not going to win every damn game, but things are going to happen. Florida was not as talented as them last year, but you did have 3 very talented skill guys on offense that caused some problems. We got a text on the Titan Tomorrow text line, buddy, before we let you go. So George wants to know, buddy, do you think any of the staff members stick around for Billy Napier?
Hard to say, depending on who he's going to bring, and he's going to bring quite a few. Now, I've heard different stories. I will point out that Tim Brewster, who's a very good coach and coach of tight ends, apparently he and Brewster coached together. at Clemson. And he's already reached out to Brewster to start reeling in some of the talent. So I would say that here, France told me last night that Tim Savage might not survive because he loves the guy he's got at UL as a strength and conditioning coach. And their offensive line, by the way, is as physical as all get out. So I think I hope Bella Gonzalez makes it. The one reason he might not is because he's not really a recruiter, although he does recruit. I know some players and coaches he's worked with. He's just such a really good coach. And you keep seeing his players show up on Sunday and score touchdowns or whatever. So I would like to know. I don't know that anybody else there would make that cut. That would be my guess. I'm just guessing now, just common sense. And you got to have somebody as a holdover. You can't come in brand new and not know where the bodies are buried. So those are the guys I would think that would be possible holdovers.
Yeah, back to the recruiting. Natasha talks about how Betty Ling and when Coach Spurrier was here, they'd send letters to all the players before their games and wish them good luck. Yeah. I do know they do that here. So, buddy, what do you think about? A lot of people have always wanted some former players who have been in the coaching ranks to be on the staff, and I think it's a great idea. What I'm going to name these guys. You tell me which ones you want, or you may want them all.
Okay.
What about Dwayne Dixon, Mike Peterson, Robert Gillespie?
I would say Gillespie is a possibility, depending on who his running backs coach is. Gillespie's had some good jobs. I love Dwayne
Alabama.
Dixon.
Would he leave Alabama, though?
I don't know.
Would he leave Alabama?
That's about relationships, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. But I wish I knew about them as coaches. I mean, I love Dwayne Dixon. Who else did you name?
Mike Peterson is a South Carolina linebacker coach. He's an outstanding coach and a tremendous recruiter.
It depends on who he's got as his linebacker coach. Look,
Shane, it all comes down to who he's comfortable hiring. It's all about relationships.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I would personally love to see all three of those guys back.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them would be back. But
no,
it's just
maybe not. And I know Coach Spurrier wants to see a Gator in there. And I understand. I'd like to see it too, and I think it would be good. But keep in mind, and I'll let you go. You can let me go after this. Every coach, and I did this when I was recruiting talent as a sports editor around the country. I kept a list in my pocket always. I always had a list of here's the guys I would hire if I had the opportunity. And one day it happened in New York at the Daily News. The sports editor was able to hire quite a few of them. But every coach, I've talked to coaches about this, they all know who they got circled. They got in there, and you know this, Shane, you coach, and you know who you'd like to coach with. The question is the timing right? Is he under contract? Is he happy? Is he cheap and available, as Coach Spurrier would say?
Yeah. Daniel's got that. He goes, the only reason this is brought to you by Facebook Live, it's back talking about AR, is the fact that he reminds me a lot of Cam Newton with his build, stature, and athleticism. I'm not in any way saying he's as good as Cam, but I feel like he can throw better than we think. I'm going by what I've seen through high school. He was hurt in high school. He's been hurt a lot here. And that nothing against him. I mean, people get hurt.
Right. I'm good. Excuse me if I interrupt you, but I want to say that when he got hurt on the first play, I thought about you. Because you said to me the whole time, the problem is he gets hurt too often. I love the kid. I think he's going to be exciting to watch.
And like I said, he may be the quarterback here. He may not. We don't know what Billy Napier wants from his quarterback position. And like I told you, I feel like the game is going back to throwers. If you look at all the best teams in America, their dudes can throw the crap out of it.
Yeah, you won't be happy.
Run a little bit.
You won't be happy until you get your drop back. I know you want that drop back, guy.
Okay, so let me tell you. So who was one of the happiest writers in America in the last year and a half covering the Gators?
Happiest?
Buddy Martin was.
Well,
because Kyle Trask was dropping back, making good decisions.
Throwing the
ball accurately.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, look at Bryce Young at Alabama.
What a throw he made, man! I got to give him the Heisman, I think.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Speaking of the Heisman, we're going to get to this day in sports, and I'll let you go. At Comfort Temp, Comfort is our business peace of mind. Is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members with all levels of experience. Great culture and benefits for opportunity of growth. $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call. 352-376-2366. This day in sports, in 1976, the 42nd Heisman Trophy Award went to Tony Dorsett of the Pitt Panthers, who went on to be a great Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
So are you a Heisman voter still, buddy?
Yeah, I have been for still.
So
I got my list out now.
Is this the most difficult year you've ever had to try to figure out who to win it or to vote for?
Well, one thing you can't do is you can't go early on your vote. You got to wait to the playoffs this week.
You have to
see what happens. Oh yeah, and right now what I saw last week, it tends to make me believe that I know who the guy is going to win. And I'm going to vote for him. I'm having a hard time with the third pick. I really like some of the quarterbacks. Obviously, I mean, I a lot, but and it's too bad, but the defensive player's not going to win it. So yeah, I vote. I'll send my vote in Monday after the playoff games. And
is it after the playoff game or after the championship games?
It's after the champ. Well, it's next Monday.
It's Monday. It's a week from yesterday, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my.
All right, so
you're
basically telling us you're voting for Bryce Young, is what you just said.
I can't say that because I'm not allowed to.
I know you can't. I know you're not. They'll kick you out of being a voter. But
no, it won't kick me out.
Your mind, buddy.
Well, that's been my policy. Guys started a long time ago doing something about doing these polls, who you voted for. And they took the fun out of the Heisman because they could predict it because they get the. And I just decided about 20 years ago I'm not going to play with that anymore. Let them wait. I'll give them what my ballot was after it's over. If it's important, it's probably not. But I try to keep it under the radar. I'll give you my two or three that we're going to talk about, and I'll give it to you next Monday.
But you got to do like Coach Spurrier. You vote for number one, who's number two, and then you always do a write-in guy down on number three.
I know he does that. Yeah, I know who.
You could put like Damian Pierce down there or something.
Yeah, well, he's going. I'll put Mississippi State's quarterback in there at number 3.
Oh, he's a good player now.
He loves him. Yeah. So, hey, real quick, let me get this in. Just be careful about when you hear a quote. I have a trained ear. When someone says something, be sure you hear what they didn't say. And if Richardson meant it when he said it one way, fine. I'm a Gator. I'm a Gator does not, when he was asked about, are you going to stay? I'm a Gator. That doesn't answer the question. Of course he's a Gator. We know that. We can see that. But where is he going to be playing football? So I think you said this before, and I agree. One of those quarterbacks will be gone next year.
Could be a bunch. Here's what people need to realize. Okay, you got a new coach coming in, and you don't know what he likes at the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's look, I've been saying this since August. This team has way more problems than just the quarterback. We need to fix the stuff around the quarterback first.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Good stuff as always. What you got tonight on the Buddy Martin Show?
Scott Carter's going to kind of give us a feeling of how the university is, what's happened there the last 72 hours. And then we'll hear from our regular crew. We'll be talking to Ainsley Lee and Carlton Reese, our newest writer for Gator Bait, is really good. He'll be joining us. And maybe another surprise or two. One of my peeps on Gator Bait, they show up every now and then. So tune us in at 9:00, Shane.
Yep. And before I let you go, one last question, 2 questions for Buddy Martin on, what is today? November 30th.
Yes.
Does Dan Mullen, if Urban Meyer is still the football coach next year for the Jaguars, is Dan Mullen calling plays for him? Number 2 question is there any chance Urban takes the Notre Dame job?
All right. I'd say number 1, I think there's a chance. I didn't get the idea, although they're friends, the times I've talked to Urban, which has probably been 50 in the last year and a half, that he and Dan are tight, and I think maybe as a play caller, he might help them. I mean, how good of a quarterback coach is Dan Mullen? I have to ask. I mean, you really can get right down to it. We don't know that yet, right? Yeah. He got lucky with Kyle Trask. He obviously did a great job with Dak Prescott, naturally. But is he an elite quarterback coach, quarterback whisperer? I don't know. I'll say no on Urban going to Notre Dame, and I'll say probably no on Dan going to the Jaguars.
All right. That's your answer on November 30th. Appreciate it, buddy. Good stuff as always, buddy.
Bryce Young and Matt Corral and C.J. Stroud right now are on my ballot. I'm thinking about maybe changing those.
All quarterbacks.
Well, they're the best players, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I'll take them all.
No. Me too.
All right, good stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. We're going to take our first time out. Went a little bit long there. We'll come back. We'll get your comments and Facebook Live questions. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews and more.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Prime and Pearl, Riga Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Bass Pro Shops, and the HBC's restaurant Spurs Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank Buddy Martin for joining the program. Got a couple Facebook Lives here. Braxton says, Dan Mullen's been at the Las Vegas Raiders games the last 2 weeks. Are you sure about that, Braxton? Because I was at the Raiders game the Sunday after Missouri, and they played the Bengals. He was not there because he was still our coach getting fired. And he was probably at the Dallas Cowboys Raiders Thanksgiving game because of his relationship with Dak Prescott. So don't read anything into that. Daniel says, why do y'all think it has taken this long for Florida to catch up with other programs such as Alabama, LSU, Georgia, as far as facilities go? I feel like we have been too worried about being great in all the other sports besides football. I'm excited for this new facility and our commitment to the sport. I'm ready to see UF back dominating and competing for championships. That's a great question. A lot of people say that, Florida was winning titles without those things under Spurrier and Urban Meyer, which is a very true statement. However, nobody else had those facilities either. I want to say Alabama was the first to build a standalone football facility, and I think Oregon and then Clemson followed suit. Now everybody has one. It just took us a while to get one. It took us a while to get an indoor facility, which made no sense where they put the indoor facility because you still had to catch a bus when it was lightning and pouring down rain from the south end zone to the indoor. Now everything will be right there together. They will not go in the south end zone to do anything but get dressed on a Saturday on game day and run out of the tunnel. That's the only time they'll be over in the stadium now. Dan says Foley didn't want to spend the money back in the day. That is a true statement. But it put us behind. Now, just building that facility doesn't mean we're going to have 5 stars signing across the board. But it will help. We'll be on an even playing field now. Braxton says, must have seen wrong. He has always gone to Dak's games over the years, and you're probably correct. I'm back to the Raiders game. I was in Las Vegas for a convention the day after the Missouri game, so there's no way Dan Mullen was there because that was when the news came down. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending, right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Taking your questions and comments right here on Pod Up with Matthews in the morning. We are done with our buddy Trent Whittemore for the year. We appreciate him joining us and giving us some insight into his football career. And he's a good player. He's in my opinion, he's our best overall receiver. and hopefully he'll have a role with this new coaching staff coming in. I'm anxious to see what Billy Napier wants to do offensively. He's got his work cut out for him. There's no question about that. Dan says on Facebook Live, you need the facility to compete for these kids now. There is no question about it. I've seen them all in the Southeast, and we are way behind the times. But when we move in probably April or May, whenever it's going to be, it will be top notch. John says, so you were saying we should only focus on football and not worry about the other sports. I didn't say that. Maybe somebody else did. Daniel says, basketball team looks really good. So at least we have something to look forward to coming. Basketball team, I think, is up to 14th in America right now. They play tomorrow night in Oklahoma, and it's just a regular season game. It's not the SEC Big 12 Challenge. It's just a regular home and home. Oklahoma's got a new coach, the coach from Loyola Chicago that took them to the Final Four. I can't remember his name. He is now Porter Mosier, I think's his name. He's now the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners when Lon Kruger retired. So it's going to be a tough challenge. They're a pretty good squad. Be a tough, good road challenge for the Gators. Be their first. It'll be our first official road game. It was at a neutral site when we beat Ohio State and California down in Fort Myers. So we'll see what we're all made of. I love this basketball team. I think you're going to see the same thing that happened in basketball, kids leaving, in football from the Gator program. That's just my gut feeling. And I think a lot of them need to leave and go find somewhere else to play. Daniel says, no, not at all, but football is the big money generator, and I feel like it's time to focus on a little more. I am all in on other sports. Maybe should have worded that different. Yeah, we're going to be decent in about every sport there is. That's just the way this athletic program works. I like that. But it's time for us to get to be relevant again in college football. It's going to be tough when OU and Texas roll into the SEC, but it is what it is, and we will see what happens. Dan tells us here that OU is having a ceremony for Lon Kruger before the basketball game tomorrow. That'll be good. Two teams that he coached. Has done a phenomenal job. I had a stat here I saw on Twitter I wanted to read. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think it was a stat. Oh, it was about coaching. I didn't realize this. Kind of a trivia question here I'll throw out to our audience. There are 3 active head coaches in the FBS who have posted 10-win seasons at 3 different schools. Can you name those 3? There's only 3 active head coaches who've posted 10-win seasons at 3 different schools. So we'll see what y'all say. John wants to know, who do I think gets the OU job? Gosh, if I'm them, I go get Josh Heupel, former quarterback. He's coached a little bit there. Did a really good job at Tennessee. Wouldn't that be funny to put Tennessee? Their fan base is so excited right now. And for OU to just swipe their OU former quarterback, come back home and coach them, that's who I would go get. I think it's similar to what Lincoln Riley runs. But I'm telling you right now, people think I'm crazy, but USC is going to be a beast to be reckoned with. You know, Lincoln had a really good recruiting class, some top-notch players coming in. Those guys have all decommitted, and they're going to end up at USC. So I don't blame him leaving the SEC because it's so much easier to win the Pac-12. Now, I mean, it's going to be a joke. I think they will win immediately. Here's another thing I wanted to throw out there to these people, because I can't figure out the whole Jimbo Fisher. All the money they're paying him, they continue to lose games. So with LSU's win over A&M, since 2018, Ed Ogeron's record is 36-14, and Jimbo Fisher is 34-14. And Ed O is fired, and Jimbo is making $9-something million. I don't quite understand it. So we'll see. Alan wants to know. Well, here we go. Braxton first on Facebook Live. Do you think the athletic department will increase the recruiting budget for Napier? Yes. However, none of us know what that means. Mullen was averaging about 12th for his years here when we were averaging 12th in the budget. Is it fair to say you get what you pay for? I guess he's saying our recruiting rankings were 12. Like I said, I don't know what goes into the money in recruiting. I don't quite understand it. because it doesn't mean you can pay all these analysts to go out and recruit. They cannot recruit. They can only talk to a kid when he's on campus in the facility. Your only guys that can go out recruiting are the head coach at certain times and your assistant coaches that are, I think it was 10 or 12 coaches that you have on staff. Alan asked, who do you think would be interested in hiring Dan Mullen? If I'm Dan, I take a year off, take my 12 mil and all the other money I made and relax a little bit. But coaches want to coach. It's a crazy business. They can't sit around. They get bored. Their wives get tired of them being at home. They want them to go back to the office. That's the nature of the beast when it comes to coaching football. Dan says Coach O had all the off the field issues that did him in. There's no question about that. All right, we're going to take our final time out of the program, come back, get a few more comments and questions, and wrap up this Tuesday edition. You're watching and listening to Pato Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Are you tired of being sidelined by nagging pain? Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer and Dance with the Stars champion. Happy to tell you about QC Kinetics and their biologic therapies for treating pain without drugs or surgery.
Are you suffering from chronic pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, or lower back? Are you tired of living with arthritis pain? QC Kinetics offers natural pain treatment that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints.
Listen, I know pain, and I've seen firsthand how powerful biologic therapies can be. Patients at QC Kinetics rave about their result because they're getting their lives back. They are getting moving again.
These exciting regenerative treatments used to be available only to pro athletes like Emmitt. Now they're available to anyone thanks to QC Kinetics. Call today for your free consultation.
Get long-lasting results from my friends at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. In North Central Florida, call 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Center State Bank is now South State Bank, but we still put business first. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. We had a couple comments here. They've gone away now, but one was referring to Brian Kelly reached out to Scott Strickland. I'd heard that, and they told him no thanks. I was wanting to ask Buddy that, and I forgot. And then there was one other one. Crud, I forgot it. It's gone away now. So anyway, maybe I'll think of it later. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We appreciate Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to Buddy every weekday night on Facebook Live around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's show is a wrap brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.